Ever wondered what the real cost of convenience is in our digital world? Tim Jensen, host of Intentionally Inconvenient, dares to question if convenience is truly the enemy of privacy. You'll explore the essence of privacy, why it's worth pursuing, and debunk the myth that it's a lost cause. Together, you will challenge the notion of, I have nothing to hide, and reveal why every bit of your information matters. Remember, all hope is not lost. It's time to reclaim your privacy in this intentionally inconvenient reality.
Hello and welcome to Intentionally Inconvenient, where we talk about personal freedom through securing your privacy. My name is Tim Jensen. I'm the host of this show. In our last episode, we covered the first step in our privacy bootcamp, level 1, which is emails, all about email. We discussed creating 2 new email accounts, one with Proton, one with Tuta.com. I also recommended that you purchase a Proton Unlimited account, and you can do that by going to goclick.me/Proton. That's goclik.me/Proton, Proton. Because this includes a simple login.co account for email aliasing. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, go back to episode 14 where we talk about that. I'll be covering email aliasing as a separate topic in a separate part of this bootcamp in a future episode, but it won't be too much longer. I also recommend that you use the free version of Tuta.com for your for another email account, and that's explained in episode 14. You have to go back to learn about that. In this episode, I'm going to go over the second step in starting over with securing your personal privacy, because we all kind of had this attitude, you know what, all my stuff's out there already, the hackers have it, the data brokers have it, and they give up. But really, we're just starting over because you can always reclaim your privacy. You just have to work at it. It's not going to happen by accident. This next step today, the one we're going to talk about briefly, is credit bureaus. Using the credit bureaus, there are 3 parts to protecting yourself from identity theft. There's the fraud alert, there's the credit freeze, and there's the credit lock. And I'll explain each one of those in a minute. But before we do that, if you have a business, if you run a business, if you have a brick and mortar, face-to-face, eyeball-to-eyeball, toe-to-toe with another human being type business, or even if you have an online business. We just had an election in the United States. I'm recording this on November 13th, 2024. And regardless of your voting choices, your voting preference, there were candidates that went on television interviews. There were candidates that went on podcast interviews like Joe Rogan, or maybe the television interview like 60 Minutes. And when I was a kid, we only had 3 choices. We had ABC, NBC, and CBS. And now people get their news in long form, like podcasts or audiobooks, but they also get it in short form, like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts. And then some people get it in mid form, like YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. You need to exist everywhere online. And unless you're limiting yourself, you're not going to succeed. You can't limit yourself to just a small part of the marketplace, because your competition, I guarantee you, is reaching out further. So let's say, for instance, we went to your LinkedIn profile. Was there a post in the last 8 months? If you have a YouTube channel, have you had a video in the last 3 months? If not, you might not have a real business. You might just be advertising haphazardly. If you've ever tried to customize your posts online, maintain a consistent schedule on X.com, Facebook, Threads, or other platforms, you probably weren't consistent. What you need is a team. But a team sounds expensive, right? Someone that you'd have to train. And what if it wasn't a team? What if I had nothing but podcasting in the last 5 years? What if I could take care of it for you? What if the team could take care of this for you? You could ditch the tech headaches and get back to what you love. This is all I do, is I prepare my notes, I record this, I upload it, I tell my team, go at it, and they produce it. If you're overwhelmed by podcasting, focus on your message. Let the team handle the rest. Do yourself a favor. Go to goclick.me/podcast single. GOCLIK.me/podcast single. No spaces. PODCASTSINGLE. So think about this. You don't have to learn how to edit. You don't have to learn how to put things in your videos. You don't need to wrestle over show notes that makes your SEO feel like SOS. There's no more social media stress outs because you haven't posted in a couple months. You can just record with your smartphone. You can record with a webcam. You can use Zoom interviews or Riverside.fm and just upload them to a predetermined place and then tell the team it's uploaded and off you go. And that's what I'm going to do. When I get done recording this video, I'm going to upload it to a predetermined place and then I'm going to tell the team, here you go. And this will be posted very shortly. Introducing your superpower done-for-you podcast production service. GoClick.me/podcast single. You get unlimited podcast production for the rest of 2024. Yes, that's right. Unlimited. You can record a post every single day. It's like your all-you-can-eat buffet, but in simple, convenient podcast form. Okay, that was kind of corny. You get 4 bonus episodes in 2025, so you get to come back after you've recorded unlimited between now and December 31st. After that, you get 4 more episodes months later. Maybe you've got a special you want to promote. Maybe you've got to do an explainer video. They can produce and promote more episodes for you. They get the professional podcast set up. When you get up and running with all the big platforms, you get Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, iHeartRadio. It's all there. Audio wizardry. The team sprinkles fairy dust, well, kind of professional editing skills, actually, to make your audio sound crisp and captivating. SEO-friendly show notes. They write the show notes for you so that even the search engines like them. Social media glow-up, eye-catching graphics, snappy posts, short videos, these little things that you see called reels that'll make your followers double tap with a heartbeat. Stress-free scheduling. They consistently schedule releases so that you don't have to think about it. It just happens. Now, normally, this podcast production costs $497 a month. For a limited time, from now till the end of the year, it's $350 for you to send unlimited podcast episodes. Upload them, tell them, and off you go. Don't have a podcast? They'll start it for you. They'll create a website for you. They'll work with you as part of this to set one up. If you have a podcast, but it's old, they just need a little CPR, podcast CPR. You ever heard of that? They'll bring it back to life. The goal is to make podcasting process 100% simple. And sure, you've got social posting tools, podcast tools, video editing, but you don't have to deal with all that. It's all taken care of. So this is the Black Friday offer that they're talking about, Done For You podcast. It's normally $497. Right now it's $350 for the rest of 2024. It's a month and a half from the time I'm recording this. Plus you get 4 additional episodes in 2025. So there's no additional commitment. It's not a monthly subscription. It's a one-shot deal. GoClick.me/podcast single. GoClick.me/podcast single. Do it today. You'll really be glad you did. Okay, let's get back to our episode here. September of 2018, the United States Congress passed and the President signed into law the Fair Credit Reporting Act. This is in response to an Equifax data breach that happened previously. So one thing that the law now mandates is that you have the right to freeze and thaw your credit for free whenever you want to. Prior to the Fair Credit Reporting Act, FCRA, you had to pay for this service. So in order to protect yourself from identity theft, since much of your personally identifying information is probably already out there due to data breaches, due to no fault of your own, you should freeze your credit at 5 credit bureaus. 5? I thought there was only 3. Well, in the show notes, I provided links to all 5. Let me explain something, though, before you go look at the show notes. All 5 of these bureaus are for-profit businesses. They exist by selling things and making money. That's just how the world works. In business, nobody can make a living till something gets sold. As such, if you were just to type in their main domain, they will offer things to sell. Now, selling's not a bad thing, but we're trying to do this as quickly as possible. If you call them, which by the way, I recommend you do not call them. Do not call them. The person who answers the phone will be a salesperson. And that's why. All of what I'm recommending is free. If you go to their website, the landing page is designed to sell you services. So instead, I provided links in the show notes that'll take you directly to the page where you can create the account. Once you get the account created with 5 credit bureaus, there's 5 separate accounts. You can navigate over to the page to create the credit freeze. In the show notes, I have a couple of direct links to their credit freeze page when necessary, as well as the account creation page. So sometimes a particular credit bureau will have 2 links on the show notes. That's what that's for. This helps you having to hunt through their website and be upsold to a package that costs you money. One other thing, you're welcome to spend your own money. It's your money. You can do whatever you want with it. Spend it as you wish. But in order to prevent identity theft, you don't need to spend money, but you're welcome to do it. No problem. So what are the 5 credit bureau names that I was talking about? The 5 credit bureaus that you should pay attention to and work with. The first 3 you've heard of, I'm sure. TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. There's 2 additional ones that you should consider working with. The National Consumer Telecom and Utilities Exchange, NCTUE. National Consumer Telecom and Utilities Exchange. It works with telecommunications companies and utilities. And then Innovis. And again, everything's in the show notes. And there's links to all of their web pages. So a credit freeze, what's that? A credit freeze prevents the credit bureaus from disclosing your credit report. Without the information on your credit report, your credit application will be denied. So if you've got someone social engineering, pretending to be you, trying to apply for a credit card so that they can spend crazy amounts of money and you got to pay for it, they decline your application because the credit report can't be revealed. Every time, it's denied. This is the best defense against identity theft, the very first and best. Not only, this is not your only defense, but it's a great first line of defense. When a credit application is declined, new accounts will not be opened. Period. Let me say it again. When a credit application is declined, new accounts will not be opened. A credit freeze is free for life. It's free for life. A credit freeze is free for life. And that's because of the 2018 Fair Credit Reporting Act. You can thaw your credit temporarily when you need to apply for credit. We all have that opportunity at times, buying a house or buying furniture, whatever. When you thaw it, you tell the credit bureau the date that you would like it frozen again. So for instance, let's say you go log in online to one of the big 3 credit bureaus. You create a request, you're going to thaw it, and I'm just going to pull a date out of the air, July the 12th. And you tell them at the very same time, and you're online, so you're not talking to anybody, you're doing this online. You refreeze it 3 days later on July 15th. That gives your creditor 3 days to check your credit, a 3-day window to check your credit. Then you don't have to log in to refreeze it. It's done. You've taken care of it. It's already scheduled to refreeze. Second thing after a credit freeze is a fraud alert. A fraud alert is a disclaimer that's added to your credit report, and it must be renewed every year. Where a credit freeze is all the time, forever, permanent, hallelujah, amen. A fraud alert has to be renewed every year. So you have to put a reminder on your calendar every year to do this. But you do that with everything else. Birthdays are an every year thing too. Fraud alerts direct the credit bureaus to place a phone call to a predetermined telephone number. You don't change the number. They can't call any other number at a moment's notice. They have to call that one, the one that you've predetermined. This number is the only number that they're allowed to call. When they speak with you, they'll ask a few questions to verify your identity. Then they'll verify that you indeed are applying for credit with such and such a place. And then this is for only the 3 major credit bureaus, by the way, TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. You register with one, and that one tells the other 2. Very simple. You'll need to contact Innovis and the NCTUE separately if you want them to be involved. Those are separate contacts. Unlike a credit freeze, the fraud alert is merely a suggestion. It's not a requirement. The credit bureaus technically don't have to follow it. They probably will, but there's no guarantee. Just putting that out there because of the way the law is written. The third one, you've got the credit freeze, the credit alert, now the credit lock. Credit lock is similar to a credit freeze, but it is a contract with the credit bureaus that you pay for. Each contract is different, so you're going to need to read the terms and conditions because you may be signing your rights away in some cases, so be very careful with that. This is how the credit bureaus, one of the ways that they make money is by upselling you, because what they'll say is, the credit freeze is too complicated to manage. Credit lock is more of a set it and forget it kind of thing. But I don't recommend it. I don't think you need to. I think you can do the credit freeze and the fraud alert, and that's good enough. And that takes care of anybody trying to have that aspect of stealing your identity. And a lot of times that's what identity theft is for, is to make it so that they can rob you blind through the credit bureaus, through the credit situation. So that's it for credit bureaus. This is Tim Jensen with Intentionally Inconvenient. That's all we have for today. Thanks for listening. Go back and listen to the first episode of the Privacy Bootcamp regarding email, because this all kind of builds on one another, and you're going to want to be armed with the information. So until then, this is Tim Jensen with Intentionally Inconvenient, saying stay safe, stay private, and thanks for listening.
That's all for now from Intentionally Inconvenient, leaving you with a challenge to question the cost of online convenience. If you want to keep learning, subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Your reviews and 5-star ratings help reach more listeners. Until next time, remember, your privacy is never a lost cause. Stay safe, stay private.